The middleTwo javabat deals with finding the middle two letters of any even length string. If you look at the notepad, I've got a couple examples here. We have a 6-letter word string. Anytime I think of the word middle related to a string, I think of the length cut in half. So in a 6-letter string, that would be 3. 3 would take me to the I, which is one of the 2 letters that I want. I actually want the letter before that, though. So what I'm thinking is there might be a connection between half the length and 1 minus that. So if you see half the length minus 1 takes me to the first index, 2, where the R is located. Remember, if you want a 2-letter substring, you're actually going to have to go up to index 4. All right, so look for a little bit of a pattern there. If we try a 4-letter word like code, half of the length is 2. Okay, 2 minus 1 gives me 1. So again, there's some sort of connection there where if I want the middle 2 letters, well, there really is no middle letter in an even length string, but it looks like half the length kind of goes to that second letter of the middle 2 letters again. So we back it up 1. We go from 1 over to 3 this time. If we have an 8-letter string, like practice, okay, half of 8 is 4. 4 minus 1, again, gets me that first index that I'm looking for, the letter C. Okay, and I'll go plus 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay, we got one kind of weird case we might want to consider, like what happens if they give us a 2-letter word. Okay, just a reminder, this won't go out of bounds. Even if you do a substring 0, 2, that's okay. 2-letter string, you can put 2 in. Whatever the length of the string is can go in a substring without going out of bounds. So I always like problems like this to kind of write out some examples, look at the numbers, try to find a pattern. And now basically I just want to try to put this into code that can work for every example. Notice how there's different numbers in the substring every time. So we can't just put numbers in there, we got to put a variable. And that variable is going to be the length of the string cut in half, okay, minus 1 to get the first index, and the length of the string cut in half, plus 1 to get the second index. All right, now we just got to make that happen. So I'm just going to go right to the return. There's no if needed because they've promised us in the directions that all strings will have at least 2 letters. Okay, and we showed in the extreme case here that won't go out of bounds. So I don't need any type of an if statement. So I'm going to return just a substring of str. Okay, and we're going to take the length of str, and we're going to cut that in half. We're going to subtract 1. Okay, and we're going to do that same exact thing, but we'll cut it in half the second time, and we'll add 1 to it. Okay, and again, if you don't really quite see why we're subtracting 1, why we're adding 1 to this string, again, look at that notepad, okay, where we see these examples, all right? And again, I really recommend you doing this too. There's no reason to try to solve a javabat in your brain, okay, in your head. Go ahead and write it out. Look at what you're doing. So cut that length in half, okay, 3, and I noticed the pattern that 1 smaller than 3 was going to take me to the first index that I wanted, and 1 more than that would be the second index I wanted. Okay, so I substring 2 comma 4. I get the letters R and I. And those have been labeled the middle 2 letters, and that pattern holds true for every other case that we looked at.